my favorite flows that helps to create that mind body connection and really start to like synchronize breath with movement. I'll kind of walk us through it slowly, but we'll start feet hip distance apart. We'll give the shoulders a nice roll up, back, and down, palms of hands forward. And first, we'll just take a moment just to kind of ground, connect in our space. If it's comfortable, you can close the eyes. And just start to connect in with the breath. We'll take a nice deep, full breath in. Hold the breath at the top of the inhalation for a few moments and just feel everything gathering in towards center. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the mouth. It's called release breath. We'll do this for a few rounds. Nice, deep, full breath in through the nose. Holding at the top. And then exhale out through the mouth. Do one more. Filling up and holding. And then out through the mouth. Okay, so to start this flow, we're just going to breathe in and reach our arms all the way up. We'll bring palms of hands together, and then as you exhale, lower your hands down to your heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale as you lower your hands down. So try to match your movement with the speed of your breath here. So deepening the breath to slow down the movement. Really reaching out through the fingertips here, reaching as high up as you can. Even spread the fingers out wide, stretching out through the hands. And as you bring the palms of the hands together, you can start to add just a little bit more pressure. It's going to start to engage the muscles in the chest and in the shoulders, the upper back a bit more. Inhaling as we reach up, exhaling to lower. And we're just going to slowly build here. So now we're going to reach up, inhaling again. And then as we exhale, hands are going to come to heart center, and we're going to bend our legs, sending our bum back, coming into like our chair pose. So we're adding in chair to this flow now. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, sinking hips down and back. And again, just try to match the pace of your movement with your breath. Inhaling as you reach, exhaling down. And I like to follow the hands here with the eyes as well to help create that mind-body connection and that presence. Keep your weight in your heels as you sink the hips back, but try to keep your toes grounded still. Also check in with your knees here. We want the knees moving in the same direction as the toes. So it doesn't matter if your feet are slightly turned out or in, just have your knees going in the same direction as the toes instead of like kind of going wide if your toes are pointing forward, for example. And you can choose how low you want to come down. Maybe adding a little bit of challenge by sinking down a little bit lower, since we're only here for like a second or so as we're lowering down. And we'll do one more round here before we complete this vinyasa or full flow. So now we're going to inhale, we'll reach up. Exhale, we'll come into our chair. Inhale, we're going to reach up. And this time on our exhale, we're going to hinge forward, coming into a forward fold. So keeping the knees bent here. And then inhale, straighten your legs and lift up halfway. Try to imagine that you could like balance a tray of wine glasses on your back. So nice flat back instead of rounded. So it sometimes helps to tilt the tailbone up a bit. And then exhale, you can round forward again into forward fold, and then grounding down through the heels. You can bend the knees, reach all the way up. And we're back at the beginning. So exhale to chair. Inhale, we'll reach up. Exhale, we're going to fold forward. Keep a nice soft bend in the knees here. Inhaling halfway up. Hands can rest on shins or thighs. Exhale, round through the back. Come into that forward fold again. And then inhale, reach up. Exhale to chair. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward, diving down. Inhale, halfway up, flat, neutral spine. Exhaling, folding back down. Inhaling, reaching back up. Let's do a few more. Exhale to chair. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale up. And if your timing's not the same as mine, that's okay. Just breathe and move. Try to remember the pattern and the flow as best you can. But if you miss a step along the way, that's okay. Just keep flowing, keep moving, keep breathing. If you want to test your balance a little bit, you can always close the eyes here as well. Once you kind of feel like you mostly have the pattern of this flow. This is called like a prayer flow with our hands in our Anjali Mudra or prayer hands. And this is a great flow that I like to do as like a nice warm up the beginning of the day. It's not too complicated, but helps to build that strength in the legs. Great for when we spend a lot of time seated in a chair. I spend a lot of time seated throughout the day as well. So this is just really great for building that quad and glute strength and hamstring strength as well. And then just full body movement with the shoulders and the hands here too. So we'll do one more complete round. And then actually we'll just meet in forward fold. So if you're not down, just make your way down into our forward fold. And while you're here, we're just going to hang out for a bit. So give the head a nice little gentle shake. No and yes. You can have the knees as bent as you like. With the legs straight in forward fold, we're going to feel a lot more of a stretch through the hamstrings. When we bend the legs, we'll feel more of a stretch through our low back. So you can kind of play around with both while we're here for a little bit, maybe straightening out the legs a bit, or maybe even one at a time. Shaking the head, no and yes. Sometimes it's also nice to just hold on to the elbows to add a little bit of extra weight for that traction through the spine and release with the low back. Couple more deep breaths here. Noticing any sensations from the hips, kind of working its way. I always kind of picture like a waterfall of sensation rolling down the back in this forward fold position. And then bending the legs as much as you need to bring the hands onto the mat, and then start to walk your feet back, coming into our downward dog, upside down V shape. Fingers spread nice and wide, middle fingers pointing forward. Use your whole hand for stability, strength, and support here. So ground down through the finger pads and the knuckles of the hands. And then you can start to pedal out the heels. So bend one leg, drop the opposite heel down, and then switch sides. Get the nice deep stretch through the back side of the entire leg. Good for ankle mobility here too. And we want the tailbone up nice and high and kind of similar like in that flat back position. Sometimes it can help to kind of stick the tailbone up a bit, almost like you would in cow position, to get a little more length through the spine. So we're not rounded through the spine, and let the head be heavy here. You can even give the head a little shake out. No and yes here too in our downward dog to release any tension in the neck and shoulders. Good. One more full breath in and out here. And then we'll make our way down onto our knees, bringing our big toes together. Knees can be close together, wide apart, or medium space apart. And we'll send the hips back towards the heels for our child's pose. So grounding down through the forehead, reaching the fingertips as far forward as we can. And just letting the body be super heavy here. Connecting back in with the breath, nice full breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. As you breathe in, let the belly press against the thighs. And just notice that release to the low back as you do that. Feeling the low back expanding and softening with each breath in and out. One more big full breath in. And let it all go. And we'll lift the head up and we'll walk our hands over to the right side, bringing our left hand on top of our right, and then we'll lower the head back down or as close to the ground as we can. It's okay if it doesn't make it all the way down. But feel that deep stretch to the left side. So as you reach towards the right side with the left hand, try to sink that left hip down and back, kind of counter that stretch or create that dynamic tension in the side of the body. Breathe into the left side now, so directing your breath to the left side of the rib cage, feeling the spaces between the ribs expanding. One more big breath in and out. And then lifting the head up, walking hands all the way over to the left side now. And stacking right hand on top of left. Try to bring the head down or let the head be heavy. Doesn't have to touch the ground here. Focus on reaching that right hand over to the left while you're also focusing on grounding and reaching back through the right side of the hip, the right bum cheeks, trying to ground down and reach back. Breathing deeply into the right side of the body. Try to make your breaths nice and long. So maybe inhaling for a count of 5, exhaling for a count of 6 or 7. One more big breath in and out. We'll walk the hands back to center of our mat, reaching forward, and we're just going to shift our weight forward. We're going to make sure our wrists are under our shoulders, knees under hips, and we'll breathe in. We'll bring our weight into our left hand. We'll reach our right arm up towards the ceiling. Big breath in, and then on our exhale, we're going to bring our right hand behind the left, and we're going to reach it as far to the left as we can. We're not going to drop all the way down onto the shoulder here. We're just going to flow through this upper body twist. So inhale, reach up. Oh, my back just cracked. Exhaling, reach as far to the left, behind that left arm. And try to stay really strong through that left hand. So fingers are spread wide again. We're actively pushing the floor away. So we're not sinking or dumping all of our weight into that shoulder. We're pushing the floor away. And then we're just flowing here with the right. It's a great way to open up through the chest and through the upper back. So those areas like our pectoral muscles here tend to shorten and tighten when we sit hunched over or just poor posture. So this is a good way to open up through the pectorals, through the underarm, and get that movement in through the shoulder. Good, we'll do one more round here, flowing. And then we'll bring that right hand down and we'll do the same thing on the left side. Inhale, reach left arm up. Exhale, thread it through. So we're reaching as far to the right as we can. Super strong through that right hand. Pushing the floor away. Reaching as high as we can with that left hand. And back. Connecting our breath still here with the movement. Inhaling as we reach up. Exhaling as we reach to the right. So let's do one more. And we'll bring our left hand down. Let's do a couple rounds of cat and cow. We'll start at the tailbone and work our way up the spine. So as we inhale, we're going to tilt our tailbone up, letting the belly sink down. Shoulder blades will squeeze together, shining the heart forward, lifting up through the chin, and top of head. And then starting at the tailbone as we move into cat. So tailbone will drop first. And then navel will draw in, mid-back will lift up. We'll push the floor with the hands. We have lots of space between the shoulder blades. Top of the head will drop. Try to initiate the movement at the tailbone and feel that movement traveling all the way up to the top of the head as you move through cow and as you move through cat. So try to articulate one vertebra at a time here. And if the wrists are feeling achy, remember you can always come into fists, pointing your thumbs forward, just to give them a bit of a break if they need it. And we'll do one more round. And then we'll come back to a neutral spine. And now we're just going to kind of wiggle our hips and our shoulders. But visualize your spine here and try to move your spine like a snake. So try to create those like S shapes through the spine by wiggling your hips and your shoulders and kind of moving your head. And you can close your eyes for this. It sometimes will look a bit strange, but it's more about how it feels than how it looks. So just kind of feel into your spine and try to make S shapes by moving your head, your shoulders, and your hips. Good. And from here, we'll just bring our feet out in front of us and we'll make our way down onto our backs. Hugging our knees in towards our chest as we come down. And you can rock gently side to side here, forward and back, or even create little figure 8 shapes as you massage your low back down into the mat. And then we're just going to hug onto the right leg, and we'll extend the left leg out nice and long. You can let the left leg rest down onto the ground, but keep the left foot flexed, so toes are up towards the ceiling or reaching forward through that heel. And as you reach as far forward through that left heel as you can, try to hug your right knee in as close to the body as you possibly can. So kind of moving in 2 different directions. The right knee is kind of coming up and in towards the chest, and the left heel is pushing away. From here, bring your hands behind your right thigh now. So off the shin, behind the right thigh, flex the right foot, and we're going to extend the right leg. Try to straighten it as much as possible. Of course, your right thigh is probably going to not be as close to the chest anymore. Just straighten it, and then we're going to just bend it again, hugging it in. So we're going to do this a few times. Straighten and lower. Reaching through the heel. You can even try to spread your toes out wide here as you keep the foot flexed. Stretching out through the toes. Good. And then the next time the leg is straight, we'll hold. And maybe you can reach your hands up a little bit higher up the leg, or maybe not. Maybe we're just holding on. You can even just hold on to your pants if you're wearing pants and not just shorts. A couple deep breaths here. Again, reaching still through that left heel as well. So that left leg's still quite active here too. And then we'll bend the leg. We'll keep the knee in nice and close to the chest. We'll reach right arm out to the side, and then we'll just use our left hand to bring that right knee across to the left. And I just let my foot kind of come down onto the ground here. You can keep your left hand on the thigh if you like, or you can even just reach it out to the left side. Look over your right shoulder here. Try to keep your shoulder as close to the ground as you can. And breathing into our spinal twist. Maybe as you're breathing here, visualizing the shape of the spine. So sometimes as I inhale, I like to imagine that I'm kind of like walking up from my tailbone all the way up to the top of my spine where neck and head meet. And then as I exhale, I kind of imagine myself as like a shrunken version walking down each vertebrae. These types of visualizations where we're going right into the body can help us to stay in the present moment. So a great way to quiet the racing thoughts or monkey mind. One more big breath in and out. And then rolling onto your back, lowering that foot down, and then switching sides. So hugging the left knee in nice and close to the body, flexing that right foot, extending through the right heel. So reaching forward through that right heel as you're bringing the left knee and thigh in as close to the body as you can. Opening up through the hips, stretching through the front of the hips here and through the hamstring here as well, and the glutes, of course. And then from here, we'll bring the hand behind the thigh now. So off the shin, behind the thigh, and flex that left foot as well. Maybe even seeing if you can spread your toes, giving the toes a nice little workout and stretch here too. And then we'll play around with straightening that leg and then lowering it, the heel back down. Keeping the thigh in as close as you can while still being able to straighten that leg. Feeling that strong activation through the quad and the hamstring, front of the thigh, back of the thigh, engaging here. Mine are shaking because I was snowboarding earlier today, so my legs are a bit achy, but it's also a nice stretch too. I know I'm going to be feeling it more tomorrow. Good. And then the next time the leg is straight, we're just going to hold here. Keep reaching forward through the right leg. Keep that right leg active here as well. Deep breaths. One more big breath in and out. And then we can bend the leg again, hug it in nice and close. Right arm will reach around and we'll pull with the right hand, bringing that left knee over to the right. Extending the left arm out to the left, finding our spinal twist. Looking over the left shoulder. The right hand can act as a weight on the left thigh, or we can just have the arm reaching out to the side as well. Up to you. And just really focusing in on the breath and maybe even on the spine here, feeling into the sensations in the body as we rest in this supine spinal twist. We'll take one more full breath in and let it all go. And then rolling onto the back, we'll bring both knees into the chest again. This time we're going to open our knees out so they're kind of going out towards the edges of the shoulders, so really wide through the knees. We'll flex the feet up towards the ceiling, and then you can hold on to a lot of different spots here. So behind the thighs is one option, the ankles, or maybe using your peace fingers, your index and middle finger, to grip the big toe. Or you can even just have your hands on the outer pinky toe edge of the foot, coming into our happy baby pose. So making sure the chin is tucked here, not jetting up towards the ceiling. And try to ground down through your tailbone as much as you can too. Noticing if your back is round. You can even use your shoulders here and ground your shoulders down towards the ground to open up through the hips even more. And then you can play around here. If it feels nice, you can rock a little bit side to side. You can even play around depending on how you're holding on to your legs, but extending one leg and bringing the opposite heel in, almost just like a baby. exploring their toes and spending time on their back. So you can move or you can be still, completely up to you. Sometimes it's nice too, even just to have the knees out nice and wide and hold on to the ankles and have the feet a little bit closer together. You still get that nice opening through the hips without as much stretching through the hamstrings. There's a moment to kind of play and explore. And again, nice full breath in. And exhale, let it all go. Release wherever you are holding on. And we'll come into our final relaxation. So extending the legs out to start. And make sure your heel is on your mat for this. We're going to do a little lying down shaking. Since we didn't do a shake at the beginning, arms can just rest next to your side. And all we're going to do is we're kind of gripping down through our heels. It's a little bit tricky to explain, but we grip down through our heels and then we just kind of move our feet. So the body ends up kind of jiggling up and down. So we're creating this, it's almost like sifting through gold or something. Like if you remember, and like when you're a kid playing in the sandbox with those little like sieves, and you like try to find like the rocks or the toys by kind of shifting that sieve side to side and just letting the sand fall through. So I kind of like to have that visualization when I do this too, where I'm just kind of like shaking out all the gunk here by doing this little oscillating movement and just allowing just only the gold to come to the surface. Everything else that we don't need to be holding on to is just kind of going down into the earth, where Mother Earth has the incredible power to heal and transform any kind of denser energies that we might be holding on to. So just a few more moments here, moving forward and back. Everywhere else in the body, we're completely relaxed. Just that movement through the feet that is creating that movement through the rest of the body. So the head will just kind of follow along here. And then just come into stillness. Palms of the hands facing up, maybe even reaching the feet out a little bit further apart now. Taking up as much space as you'd like. If the back is feeling super achy, sometimes it's nice just to keep the legs bent, feet on the ground. And I like to have my knees fall in to support one another. And just beginning to connect in with the breath. Nice deep breath in, filling all the way up, letting the belly, the ribs, the chest expand, taking in as much air as you possibly can. And then just holding the breath for a moment or two. And as slowly as you possibly can, try to exhale every little bit of air out super slowly. Make that exhale double the length of the inhale if you can. Exhaling everything out. Or maybe just taking a moment to pause for a few seconds at the end of the exhalation. And then inhaling, filling all the way up. Holding for a few moments. And super slowly letting it all go. Holding at the end of the exhalation for a few moments. Doing this for the first few rounds here as we kind of settle in to stillness, full expansive breath in, feeling the body radiating and expanding outwards in all directions on that in breath. And just take a moment in that space between the breaths, that moment of calm, quiet. And then when you're ready to exhale, let it all go. Nice and slowly. Noticing how it feels to pause at the end of the exhalation. And keeping your awareness on the breath, but releasing any kind of control of the breath. And just see how the body wants to breathe in this moment. And giving control back to the body, but keep watching the breath. Notice how the body wants to breathe naturally in this moment. It might not be the most ideal breath. It might be super shallow or short, but that's okay. Just keep watching the breath. Notice how the body wants to breathe. Noticing how subtle the breath can be. Noticing the sensations in the body as you witness the breath. You observe and feel at the same time. You focus or watch the breath and feel into the sensations in different regions of the body at the same time. And taking a moment of gratitude here just for being, for giving yourselves this time and this space to just be fully present with your breath, your body, with sensation. And we're not judging anything that comes up in our awareness, if it's a thought or if it's an ache or pain. We're just witnessing it all as it arises. There's no right or wrong here. Just being fully present, watching our body in stillness, sensing and feeling our body in stillness. Noticing as the breath comes and goes, just riding the wave of the breath, the wave of awareness, of attention, of being. And riding the waves of sensation in the body, feeling that aliveness in the hands and the feet, the legs. We spend so much time in our upper body, in our heads. Let's spend some time just feeling into the feet and the legs and the toes. Remembering that the feet, the legs, and our toes hold a lot of wisdom and insights to. We're not necessarily looking for that in this moment, but just really giving time to feel into the legs, the feet, the toes, feeling that aliveness. Sometimes it might feel like a pulsing or a tingling. Maybe you're even just able to connect with the flow of blood moving through the lower body, the legs and the feet, feeling into the weight, the biggest bones in our body, and the legs must be heavy, kind of feeling into that heaviness. And taking these moments, just really enjoy the space of being with the breath, with the body. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, just being. Perfectly human being. Just maintaining the simple feeling of being. I'll be asking a few questions, but I want you to really try your best to stay in the space of beingness and experiencing yourself as being, as you just kind of allow the answers to arise. We're not really looking for them, we're not going into thinking, we're really just staying in this open hearted, spacious awareness as being. Feeling and experiencing yourself as being when you're just being. How would you describe your experience of where you're located in space? Where, for instance, is your innermost center? And your outermost boundary? When you're just being, do you have a distinct border or boundary? When you're just being, without going into thinking or memory, what's your experience of time as being? When you're just being, is there anything that you need to acquire that will make you any better or more perfect than you already are as being? When you're just being, is there anything you need to understand that would make you any more connected than you already are as being? When you're just being, is there anything you need to do that by accomplishing it would make you any more complete? than you already are as being. Taking the next few moments to simply be, connecting back into the breath, into the sensations of the body. Whenever you need to, whenever the mind wants to wander, come back to the breath, come back to the sensation, and really feel into your wholeness of being, spacious, timeless, perfect, connected, complete, just as you are, just as it is, just being. Noticing if the mind wanders, come back to the breath, come back to the body. Connect back into that spaciousness, timeless, perfect, connected, complete being that you are. Continue to experience this feeling of being and wholeness. And while you do, start to sense and feel your physical body and that feeling of being at the same time. And feeling your toes, your legs, your feet, your hips, your torso, arms, hands, shoulders, neck, head, and that feeling of being. Feel the body resting on the ground and the support of the ground beneath you, Mother Earth beneath you, while simultaneously continuing to feel the feeling of being. Staying fully present in that wholeness and experiencing yourself as being while also feeling the touch of the air on your skin. Staying connected with that feeling of being and noticing any lights, shapes, or colors that you might see, even if the eyes are closed. Welcoming in sounds while maintaining that feeling of being. Feeling into the space around the body, the space that you're in, the room that you're in, while continuing to feel and experience yourself as being. And slowly opening the eyes, but continue to feel that feeling of being as you take in your surroundings and your space, the sounds, what you feel, what you see, what you hear. Really affirming into that feeling of being, maybe even closing the eyes for another moment again, and just feel into that feeling of being, that experience of being. And maybe opening the eyes, affirming, feeling that sense of being. And then once you're ready, you can slowly start to move the body, inviting movement back in, stretching, wiggling around, rolling things out. And then slowly make your way to a seated position or stay lying down if you want to just stay here lying down. You're more than welcome to. We're going to bring the hands together and we're just going to rub the hands, creating some friction and heat. And then close your eyes again if you have them open. And we're just going to cup the eyes here. So we're not putting any pressure on the eyeballs at all. We're just covering them. And just take a couple deep breaths here. This is a great practice to do after spending a long time on the computer. It really helps to relax the optical nerve behind the eye. So taking breaks by doing this, rubbing the hands and then covering the eyes to relax the eyes can be really helpful too. Maybe bringing hands to heart center, bowing the head in gratitude and thanks to each other for sharing the space together. I thank you both for being here today and sharing your practice with me. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Peace, peace, peace.